Oh my gosh. Did I miss the boat? Is podcasting dead already? Is it too late to start a podcast? That's what we're talking about today on Delegate Smarter. Yay! And I've got an exciting guest today. Katie is going to come on and she's going to tell us all about podcasting and whether or not now is the right time for you. Notice how I said that. Now is the right time for you to start podcasting. So, Katie, tell me a little bit about, what do you think? Is there still an opportunity to podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that in our culture, in our society today, people are craving information on the go. We're all super busy, and we don't always have time to sit down and read a chapter of a book or read a long blog post or even, watch a video series. Sometimes we want information on the go. We want to be able to watch it or listen to it in the car, on the subway, in the grocery store, whatever we're doing. So podcasting is a great, great way to really reach people a lot quicker and a lot faster than some other platforms.
Okay, but if I'm a coach or a consultant and I'm thinking about starting a podcast, why should I put this time and effort and probably some funds to pay for all of this good stuff to put content out there? What's in it for me? What's the benefit to me as a coach or consultant for doing this?
Yeah, so not only are you providing really valuable content to your listeners, you're also giving them a way to get to know you, to get to know your personality. Podcasting is very personal. You're in somebody's ear, you're in somebody's car. So it's a great way for people to really connect with you before they even might connect with you as a client. So you already kind of get that like, trust, and know factor even before they come to you looking to hire you. So it's a great way to get to a personal kind of connection with people.
Yeah, so it's all about building credibility. I personally think it's also a great way to build an email list. And if you're also looking to become a speaker, it's a great way to really kind of develop your message and get your message out there to people who may hire you as a speaker. That's kind of my personal opinion. What do you think?
Absolutely. If you're new to the speaking business or you don't have many under your belt and you want to show, hey, I'm really good at what I do, I have great information, I'm an expert, podcasting is a fantastic way to do it. You're giving them, kind of a preview into what one of your talks might be. So I think it's a fantastic way to grow credibility there as well.
Love that for sure. So, okay, so I've decided, yeah, I'm going to step into this pool of podcasting. What do I need to know? What do I need to think about before I even actually commit to making that decision?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've talked about this before, Nicole. You need to focus on what your podcast is for. As we mentioned, if you want to get more speaking engagements, or if you want to get more clients or grow your email list, or just establish yourself as an expert in the field, understand kind of what you're doing a podcast for, and then focus on who you're trying to get to listen. If you're wanting potential clients to listen, or if you're wanting other coaches to listen, that's a very different audience. So really kind of narrowing in on why you want to start a podcast, what do you want to get out of it, and then who you're trying to make it for will really kind of get you in the right direction with those first two kind of decisions.
Okay, but wait, I have a quick question for you. Who the heck are you, and why are you the expert on this show telling me what I need to know about podcasting?
Yeah, so I'm Katie Thompson. I'm the founder of Modern Darling Media, which is the branding, marketing, and design studio. And I'm also the host of the Hustlenomics podcast, where I host other female entrepreneurs and interview them about their journey to becoming business owners. So I've been in the podcasting world for a little over 2 years now. Like I mentioned, I host my own podcast, but I also help other people launch their own.
Yeah, it's a great foundation. You're also part of the virtual A team. I only hire the best, and I really needed to have somebody that knew what they were talking about when it came to podcasting. So, I brought you on and thought I would share you with my audience because you are such a valuable asset to me. I appreciate you. So tell me, we talked a little bit about what they need to know, and I know that you and I have kind of talked about this before. But a little bit more about what is the basic setup? What are some things that a coach needs to think about when it comes to getting started in podcasting?
Yeah, absolutely. So my first step kind of is to talk about the idea. Sometimes people come to you and you have a great idea, but it's a little bit broad. You don't really have a specific niche that you're looking for. So really nailing down that idea. For example, my show, I could just talk about business, right? But my specific show idea was to interview other female entrepreneurs about becoming business owners, that whole journey. So it's still about business, but I narrowed it down to a topic where I really, really know who my audience is. So getting that topic nailed down. And then the next you want to focus on, is this going to be a solo show? Am I going to have guests on? Will it be a combination of both? Because whatever direction you go will take you in, obviously different paths with actually producing your podcast. So that would kind of be my next step, is deciding which type of show you want to have.
Yeah. And so as you're kind of thinking through some of these things, you've got, the type of show, you have your audience, you have the purpose, of course, why are you doing it? And then we start to get into some of the logistics.
Mhm.
And I think, from my experience, when I'm working with clients, the logistics is often forgotten. They think that that's kind of an afterthought, like, I'll work through that. I know why I want to do the show. I know who I want to have on the show. I know the content I want to share. Like, I've got tons of that, but when it comes to actually nailing down the logistics, that's where they tend to struggle. So tell me a little bit about some of the things that actually are involved in the logistical side of doing a podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing is naming your show. You might have come up with the best name that you're absolutely loving, but then you find out somebody has already got that name, or somebody already has a name that's really, really similar. So, you need to obviously search that name first and figure out, is it available? Because if it's not, you're going to have to go back to the drawing board. But once you have a name down, you can talk about your podcast description. That's going to describe who you are as the host and also what the show is about. And so once you kind of get all that nailed down, the next step is branding your show. You can't just kind of throw information out there and put it up on iTunes without kind of an identity behind what the podcast is. If you decide to pivot later on, that's fine, but getting that branding nailed down, which includes your name, your podcast description, your cover art, which is the little thumbnail that goes next to your show in iTunes and Spotify and things like that. Getting all that nailed down is super important. Because you need to have people look at your picture or your podcast name and know, oh, okay, I know that show, I recognize it. So that's kind of the first part of the logistics. And then do you want me to go into kind of the actual part of getting the show together?
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that and what that involves.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously the next step is to record, whether that means recording your solo show. You can get a microphone off Amazon. I use the blue external microphone. You can use a Yeti, whatever you decide to use. Some are more expensive than others, but getting that microphone and getting recording. I use Audacity to record and edit. It's a free platform, which I love. So you can go ahead and start recording if you're doing a solo show. If you're having guests on, the next step is to decide what guests you want to have on the show, reach out to them and schedule an interview. Interviewing people for a podcast can be done on multiple different platforms. Zoom seems to be one that's accessible. It's free and it's easy to use. You can record off there. I use a platform called Zencaster. So there's different ones out there that you can research. But once you get that first episode together, you need to add in your intro and outro. And this can be done in different ways. You can record it yourself. Intro and outros are just 30-second little kind of blurbs. The intro is introducing your show, obviously, and your outro can leave some information about following you or finding more information, things like that. So adding those on to the end of your episode, whether it's a solo show or a guest show, and then uploading it to your hosting platform, which is a whole nother beast.
Yeah, and I think I'm just not sure if everybody knows even what a hosting platform is. What does that mean? I mean, we're talking jargon here and you're kind of going over my head.
Sure. So a hosting platform basically is your home for your podcast. Think of it as like your website is your home for all of your information and things like that. Your hosting platform is your home for your podcast. So you can choose from all different types. There's tons of different hosting platforms out there. If you just do a quick search of podcast host platforms, you'll see a bunch that come up. So basically, it's where you're housing all of your MP3 files, your episodes. It includes all of the descriptions and the titles and things like that. It also generates your RSS feed, which is your kind of URL for your podcast. So this is how you're going to start distributing your show to things like iTunes and Spotify and iHeartRadio and Stitcher. A lot of these hosting platforms will do that for you, so you don't have to manually submit to things like iTunes. So yeah, that's basically what a hosting platform does, and a lot of them offer extra features like analytics and things like that. So it just kind of depends on which one you choose to go with.
Yeah. So ultimately, you really can do without a hosting platform, but it's highly unrecommended.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it just makes the whole process so much easier. And I got to tell you, I've got an old podcast out there way back in the day called Behind Superwoman's Cape. And I actually hosted these on my own website. I had just enough data to kind of push all that stuff out there, but I was having to manually submit everything and do all the details. These systems were just kind of, these hosting companies were just coming out when I had my podcast out there. And boy, it would have saved me a whole lot of headache if I had used one of those. So I don't recommend trying to do it on your own. You certainly can if you're really trying to save some money, but you're going to end up having to pay more for your website hosting anyway in order to get the amount of data that you need to house all of those episodes. So
absolutely. And down the road, if you want to still feature your podcast on your website without hosting it on your website, a lot of these hosting platforms offer embeddable little video players, or audio players that you can put on your website without eating up all that data and without, losing all that room on your website.
Yeah, so you can still send people to your website, but the files that they're accessing are accessed from the hosting company that you're using. Libsyn is probably one of the biggest ones, but so that's all good information. Now, I got to tell you, I am just exhausted listening to you. Tell me that I don't have to do all of this myself.
Yes, you absolutely can outsource so many different things when it comes to actually creating your podcast. One of the first things that probably comes to mind is the editing. Not everyone has a background in editing. I was lucky that I did that in my master's program when I was, doing radio journalism. So I'm happy to do it myself, but a lot of people don't have that background. So finding someone to edit your podcast and really make it sound professional is a great first thing to outsource. It really saves a lot of time, and you can just enjoy the process of recording the podcast without having to go through the somewhat tedious process of the editing.
Yeah. And, some other things that we here at Virtual A Team do for our clients, we'll help them with the show notes. We upload to their hosting services. We do the social media graphics on the back end. We do the social media promotion. We help to correspond with the guests if they need those things. So all of that stuff can be delegated. I mean, at the end of the day, the critical pieces that the coach or consultant needs to handle on their own is coming up with the content and the questions and who they want the guests to be. Now, some of that can be outsourced a little bit here and there as your podcast grows, but those are going to be some of the first pieces. And that coach needs to be the voice. You can't outsource the voice of your own podcast. So when you're trying to gain that reputation and that know, like, and trust, you have to be the voice on your podcast. So
absolutely.
Now, Katie, I know that you've got some free resources. I know that you've got some helpful tips, and you have an amazing course if somebody wants to kind of do a deeper dive and learn how to start in the world of podcasting on their own. So tell us a little bit more about how they can get those resources.
Yeah, absolutely. So my course is kind of based around the idea that, you can DIY your podcast and you can do it on a budget. Of course, if you want to outsource for, time and sanity, that's amazing. I mean, sometimes if you're a little bit, more budget conscious, sometimes you got to do it yourself. So this is a DIY kind of course, taking you from the very beginning stages of coming up with your idea, your topic name, your branding, and then taking you all the way through the recording and editing process, then to the actual publication and getting it out to the world, as well as planning for the future to avoid what people call pod fading, and making sure that you're consistent and you're not going to just kind of fade out and lose your motivation. So all of those things are available in the course, as well as, you know, multiple downloads and workbooks within each module. So that's my paid course that you can find on my website at moderndarlingmedia.com. But I also offer a lot of free resources. I have a Get Started Podcasting in 3 Easy Steps free webinar, as well as some kind of downloadable free resources in my resource library. So all of that you can find under the education tab on my website.
Love it. And I am just excited about sharing all of this great stuff with my clients and you guys out there. I mean, you know, if you need to kind of DIY those first few steps, you want to get through that, and then you get the setup and you're ready for the day-to-day kind of process, and that's what you want to outsource. We're here for you no matter where you want to go with that. And for sure, be sure to kind of check out that course, and always check out the next video because we've got another great one coming up. Thanks so much for being on here, and remember to delegate smarter.